Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. All right, so in one of my squale bashing videos, I had an interesting comment that I thought I'd read. And this was the comment. This is how it started out. This is from gmshadowtraders. He wrote, and I think this is a response to my opposition towards sub homage watches. Thing is, the fact that so many watches look like the sub sort of does take the value, or at least uniqueness, away. End quote. And I just wanted to clarify. So I wrote him back and I said, it takes the value and uniqueness away from the actual sub? And he responded, if two things look the same, then yes, unless you are a diehard fan. And it's interesting. I mean, if you think about what he's saying, your first gut reaction is, you're crazy. You know, these homages don't detract from the real thing. If anything, it further makes those actual subs special. But let me just say, I see where he's going. You know, we often talk about the ubiquity of subs. You hear that all the time. And yeah, there are a lot of subs out there, and you do see quite a few subs. But what you see more than anything is the sub homages and sub-esque watches. And I think that could be a reason why people feign sort of a sickness of the sub, because they see so many copies and sub-looking watches. But do these homages devalue or make the real sub less unique? Well, I think it actually makes a real sub more valuable. Makes the real thing more special. So yeah, I'm just thinking about how I want to address this. Value. Okay, so value. The sub is an iconic watch, and so when companies make knockoffs and you know, different sort of tributes to it, what it does is it reinforces the fact that this really is a iconic, it's a very special watch. And I think if you're just getting into watches, you might know that dive watch style, but you might not really realize that it comes from one iconic watch. And I think when you realize that, you realize how special and amazing the sub is. And in that case, you might think, I really want the real thing. And I know for me, having the real thing is of, you know, great value. It's important to me. I see a lot of value in having the real thing, having where it all started, having the true archetype dive watch. But I can see how people could say, looking at the object in and of itself, there's no real reason to get it, because I can get something that looks just like it for a fraction of the cost. And in that case, for that particular person, it would be devalued. So that person would only be looking at the actual object. And you really can't look at a Rolex at just the actual object in your hand. You've got to look at the whole package. The history and the place it holds in horology, the place Rolex holds in horology, the legacy is a huge part of the value of a Rolex. And so, you know, if you're into watches, and that's going to be a big part of why you appreciate the brand. But I get that, you know, a person could look at, say, is it Genovese or this over $1,000 sub-esque looking copy that I heard Mark Goldberg talk about. Apparently, this watch is popping up on a lot of channels, and I think they're I don't know if they're giving them away or not, but they're flooding the YouTube channels with this sub homage. And a lot of people would look at the sub and look at that and think, well, $6 grand for this, or, you know, $1 grand for that. Why would I ever pay, you know, 6 times what this one costs? This is the same watch. And for them, I guess it would be. Yeah, so I do think to appreciate a Rolex, I don't know if you have to be a diehard fan, but you have to be sort of educated enough on the history and the legacy of the brand to appreciate it. And if you're not, then it might seem like a bad deal investing in a Rolex. Something like a Steinhardt might just make more sense. So, it's a good question and an interesting point, and it was thought-provoking, and so I thought I would make a separate video. I don't look at Homages as infringing on anything that Rolex does. I see them as just reinforcing this iconic piece, and in fact, in my opinion, highlighting how special it is and how special the real thing is. And the real thing is, you know, worlds apart from, you know, homage. A lot of people would say it's not worth it. You know, when you get a homage for a quarter of the price or less, it's just not worth it. But when you consider horology as a whole and what the sub is and what the sub means, the fact that you can have a piece of that for $8 grand is, I think, an absolute steal. I mean, we're talking wristwatches. They're really pricey things. And to be able to participate in that history and that legacy for $8 grand, it's actually a steal. I think it's a great deal. Yeah, I mean, these are watches that'll last you for the rest of your life. So $8 grand for an iconic piece of history that will last you for the rest of your life. I mean, you know, divide, you know, 50 years into that, and, you know, what does that work out to? How much does it cost to wear a Rolex? Anyway, take care. Let me know your thoughts on that. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.